center off of Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down, he scores!
Come from behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia, they won't get him! Wow! Edwards pulls up and buries the flag! Richardson tries, out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. Daniels takes his shot for Derby. Flag out.
What is up, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps? Happy Friday to you all. Guess what? Today is going to be a phenomenal, fun day, as well they all are at Pitchfork Lunch, as you guys all know. Look, got a little, obviously, it's past run. Always Pat Tillman honoree Friday. As, every day to say the least. But you guys know what I'm talking about, honoring Pat Tillman. But it is Friday, however you want to call it here on Pitchfork Lunch, and I am glad you're with me. Yes, I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as the Twitter, as you guys well know. You can check out Pitchfork Lunch live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. Plus, I know I have reminded you all season long, and I will continue to, as this is the last Friday show of season 2 of Pitchfork Lunch. But you can go to the IG at michael.caratino.5 and check out Pitchfork Lunch there. Yes, it is up there as well. Yes, it is up there as well. So yes, go to the IG. Also, the YouTube channel, guys. You know that YouTube is definitely the another wonderful place. You can watch live on YouTube, but guys, subscribe. I say subscribe, watch, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And for the new subscribers I've gotten recently, forks up to you. Absolutely, thank you for that. Glad you subscribed. But yes, you can get all caught up if you missed season 1 last season, and you haven't seen a lot of season 2 or seen some of season 2. Go binge watch season 1, binge watch season 2, all of it, or whatever you've missed. For those of you here every day, guessing you didn't miss many, but if you did, and you can go back and just check some shows out. But subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can do that, because you have missed a plethora of phenomenal interviews with coaches, players, analysts, voices, insiders, alum, a phenomenal athletic director who's been here not once but twice, as you guys know. Looking for the third time. See, put it in. No, but anyway, yes. Go to YouTube and subscribe. You can get all caught up. And again, you binge watch for the rest of the summer, because Monday, again, will be the last show of season 2. As again, track and field competing. We have some competitors up in Eugene competing at nationals. So, yes, Monday will be the last show, and hopefully going to cap it off with another awesome guest. But we have a phenomenal guest today. I'll be switching venues in a few minutes, but that is because we are going to be joined again. Had him on last season for episode 150, and a very busy man, obviously, recruiting cycle and everything. But Sun Devil head coach Kenny Dillingham will be joining us here on Pitchfork Lunch. So again, in about 22 minutes. So again, let your friends know, let everybody know. But again, Coach Dillingham I'll be sitting with him, and it'll be a very awesome little bit to talk about, from recruiting to last season to whatever comes up, as again, yes, prepared, but players, coaches, what he's doing, the crushing the transfer portal and all that good stuff. Camps, obviously, you guys saw I played the sound the other day out at the youth camp, showed some pictures. But again, we'll get to all that with Coach Dillingham. So stoked again. He said he was going to take the time. So yes, we will be talking with Sun Devil head coach Kenny Dillingham here. And again, it's always love sitting down with him, picking his brain. He's got a lot of and I know I told him the other day when I was talking to him about he had put up a tweet, and I'm pretty sure I reposted it, but he put up a tweet about Mufasa and the Lion King dropping the knowledge early in the movie to Simba because he's watching it with his son. So again, it's again, stuff like that. And who knows, whatever else comes up. But he'll be with us in about 22 minutes. So again, let everybody know all that good stuff. And you can join us. So you can watch it, but subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's why I'm saying that too. You subscribe to YouTube, you can do it. You see my name, Michael Carrington, but you go to YouTube, and it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005 at MVC 005 on YouTube, guys, and subscribe. Because Monday after we're done, probably be a little, wanting Sun Devil stuff. You can just go back and reminisce. That's what they're up there for. Well, and of course to bring Sun Devil Nation all around to everybody athletically. But again, you can do it too on Monday. So again, it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005 at MVC 005 on YouTube, and subscribe away. Also, you guys know this, I've been reminding you, not only can you watch on those wonderful avenues, but you can listen to Pitchfork Lunch on the greatest internet radio station on the web, the Casual Sports Radio Network. Guys, all you got to do is go to www.ksrnaz.com. Page will open up. Click listen live, hit play. Bam. Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. Forks up to Casual E for letting Pitchfork Lunch be a part of the KSRN family. Again, it's absolutely awesome. So look, you're driving around. Maybe you're leaving work early today. Yes, it's lunchtime-ish. You're leaving work early, or you're going to lunch, and maybe you're going to take a long lunch, hang out with your friends. Of course, I want you to watch in those other avenues, but don't watch the drive. Pay attention to the road. Like I always say, like Oprah used to talk about in the beginning with celebrities, to not text and drive, which again, probably shouldn't text and drive. It helps to pay attention to the road, but yeah, pay attention to the road. You're Sun Devils. I know you're smarter than that. So stream it through your Bluetooth, www.ksrnaz.com. So when the page opens up, click listen live, hit play. Driving in your car, you can listen, hear everything, get to where you're going. You can still listen, obviously, or watch on the other avenues. But either way, thanks to Casual E, got you covered there on the Casual Sports Radio Network. Also, guys, subscribe to their socials. I know I might pump this to you daily, but man, you want to talk about not just the Sun Devil content that's up there with Pitchfork Lunch being on KSRN, but the Cardinals, the Suns, the Diamondbacks, the Mercury. He has got you completely covered with what is going on, and obviously mini camps going on. The Diamondbacks in the thick of their season, as we hit June, and the Mercury in stride in their season as getting some players back, getting healthier. Yes, that is all there. So subscribe to their socials at the Casual Sports Radio Network, and Casual E has you hooked up. And plus, like I said, you got Pitchfork Lunch, Sun Devil. Pitchfork Lunch can be heard all around the world, as Sun Devil stuff should be. So, and if you're sitting at your desk, maybe turn it up, direct your speakers towards some of your coworkers that may have went to the school down south, and, they can enjoy and hear about championship stuff too, right? So, yes, but www.ksrnaz.com. Again, when the page opens up, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, click listen live, hit play, and there we are. And you subscribe to their socials, and you'll be in the know, in the valley, thanks to Casual E and all the other phenomenal shows, again, that you can check out on KSRN. So, yes, but like I said, Coach Dillingham will be joining us shortly. I'll be like I said, switching gears. But you can do this when you're mobile, right? So for joining us, that was awesome. They wrapped up 7-on-7 last night, and a phenomenal game between Williams Field and Brophy. Again, knowing both coaches, Steve Campbell, Sun Devil alum, has been coaching out at Williams Field. Man, it's got to be over 10 years. Yeah, I'd say over 10. I'd have to look at the number itself, but and then Jason Jewell, the head coach at Brophy College Prep. So yeah, some talented players out there. I will say this: Williams Field. I watched a lot of the Big Man Challenge yesterday, and they were out there. They were one of the schools, obviously, out there. Williams Field, Chandler, Red Mountain, Castile, Mountain View. Marana was out there. Man, who else did I see? Desert Edge. Yes, Desert Edge. I want to say Centennial was out there as well too. Who else for the Big Man? Again, a ton of school, and I mean there was some obviously. There were some out on Tuesday as well, and then they had stuff last week and 7-on-7s going. But yeah, last night stuck around in the final game, advancing through all the way. Like I said, was Williams Field and Brophy, and man, Devin Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald's son, is I mentioned it was out at spring ball, and ASU has offered him. Had some pretty insane catches. I will say that, being out there on 7-on-7. Also, I would say Williams Field, their quarterback, man, this kid, talk about snapping the ball. Man, just first play of their 7-on-7 semifinal game against Chandler. Very first snap. So I think they're 45 yards out, 45 yards out, and just dimes it to his receiver on the far sideline and drops it in over the DB. The receiver, again, had a half a step, but man, just the spin. And then a few series later goes down the near sideline, the left sideline, and man, that spiral could not have been any tighter. Insane. So they advanced to play Brophy. Brophy beat Desert Edge in a very awesome matchup too. Desert Edge, man, they got some. They got a receiver and a they have quite a few good players. Let me just say that. But that popped to me the few times when I watched them play a little bit was one of their corners and one of their receivers. So yes, that was absolutely awesome. To say the least. But Brophy's able to hang on and beat them. And then, man, you talk about the last 2 minutes with a lot of scoring, and Desert Edge just gets Williamsfield gets Brophy in the end. Steve Campbell, I'm like, look at you getting more wins here at your alma mater. But yeah, it was good to catch up with him yesterday, and then just talking to, even catching up with Coach Mons a little bit, Coach Carrington, excited about stuff, and then Coach Tui Tele again. I love chatting with all of them, and Coach Aguano, Coach Regal, but yeah, just chatting away, Coach Ward and stuff like that. So again, absolutely awesome being out there. As again, they're hosting it, but like I said, the Big Man Challenge, they again, some very, very some size out there, some beef, and some overall lines, just domination. So that was awesome to check out yesterday. And like I said, we'll hear from Coach Dillingham. I mean, and again, I'll ask him about more so hosting the youth camp. But anyway, we'll get to that. So that is very awesome. Also, like I said, guys, don't forget, track and field is still going on up in Eugene. Nationals are. So yesterday, the women, the only thing the men had yesterday was a 1,500 meter and a decathlon. But the women, again, yesterday, rocking it. And then today, we have the finals in the 4x1. The men's 50. Oh, that was for the decathlon yesterday, the men's decathlon. But anyway, we have the finals for the 4x1, the men's 1,500, the 3,000 meter steeplechase, the 110 hurdles, the 100, the 400, the 800, 400 hurdles, 200, 5,000 meter, and the 4x4 relay. And I want to say, let's see, I think, well, Jaden Davis, obviously, I guess obviously college World Series in Omaha going on. But well, Minnesota leads the team scoring, by the way, entering today's final round. So the men's 400, by the way, the final is at 6:02. Oh, Arizona's area code. So that might be a good sign for Jaden Davis, who is in lane 9. For the Devils, so he did get in. The field is pretty obviously very loaded. Jordan Pierre from Arkansas Pine Bluff will be in lane 1. Gabriel Clement II from UCLA in lane 2. From Ahmad Robinson from Texas A&M is in lane 3. Deshaun Boyce, who I've mentioned, from a fellow Big 12 foe from Texas Tech, will be in lane 4. In lane 5, Joseph Taylor from Duke, who's a freshman and the only freshman in the heat. Joseph Taylor from Duke. And then Samuel Ogazi from Alabama is in lane 6. Gabriel Moronta from South Florida is in lane 7. In lane 8 is William Jones from USC. And then Jaden Davis, forks up, is in lane 9. His season best is 44.84 Which again puts him in again middle of the pack in there. So again, I see this being, being out in lane 9 with the stagger when you start, like there is nobody, to your right pushing you, to your left. Again, you're down there, but it'll be interesting to see how he runs it out in lane 9, because you can get some tricky places from out there. Again, having run track, people, you'd rather be on the inside, all that good stuff. Yes, I get it. 4 or 5, the fast, quote unquote, fast lanes, because again, peripherally, like everybody's right there. Yes, run your race, but at the same time, that's where he is at. So that is at 6:02 p.m. this evening. Also finals for the men's discus, and no Sun Devils, unfortunately. In that, and then the 4x400 relay, like I said, the Devils just missed out by 0.2 of a second, 0.2, and their 4x4 team, and they had a hell of a season. And it's a BYU who's actually in lane 1 of this, but BYU, Florida, South Florida, Penn State, Texas A&M, Arkansas, USC, and Iowa, and Alabama are the 9 in the 4x400, which will be at 7:21 p.m. tonight. So, and then also don't forget tomorrow, women's discus. Sun Devils representative Inez Lopez, again, whose season best was 57.56 meters, which is 188 feet 10 inches. Again, like I told you yesterday, there's 4 competitors that threw over 200 feet in discus. So obviously, absolutely just crushing it, watching it. But we'll see what Lopez can do. From there. So that is tomorrow at, I want to say 9:30 our time. It says 12:30, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's in Eugene. Yeah, 12:30 in the afternoon. So the discus tomorrow, or Saturday, women's discus, and that is the first field event to get going. In the 4x400, just so you guys recall, ASU again finished at 3:04 flat, and they've run 3:02. They've run a ton of 3:02s in that time, 3:03, which any one of that would have qualified them, because BYU was the last in at 3:03.83, and the Devils were 3:04 flat. So, like I said, 17 hundredths of a second, not even 2/10, 17 hundredths of a second, which, again, as you guys know, blink of an eye. So, but hopefully, again, frost for Jaden Davis in lane 9 is, tough to, not that you can't win out there. There's been competitors as time has gone on have actually, if you run your race and you don't see anybody in front of you, but if people start to make up the stagger, again, you can get that push. And we all know this sophomore has been phenomenal. Oh, and like I said, with that, let me see, with the 6:02, the 400-meter final today. Being in lane 9. But so, I mean, you have the one freshman, Joseph Taylor. And then, let's see, how many seniors do we have? Ahmad Robinson is a senior, and so is Gabriel Moronta. So there's 2 seniors. Let's see. One, Deshaun Boyce and William Jones are juniors. So 2 seniors, 2 juniors. Sophomore-wise, Gabriel Clement II at UCLA is a sophomore. as is Samuel Ogazi of Alabama and Jaden Davis of ASU. So there's also Jordan Pierre. So there's 4 sophomores. So you got Jordan Pierre, Gabriel Clement, Samuel Ogazi, and Jaden Davis, and then the freshman, the lone freshman, Joseph Taylor from Duke. So, yeah, talk about getting good experience and pushing yourself to get into the international level. Yeah, that's pretty badass. So, hey, but guys, we got to take a break because guess what? When we get back, Coach Dillingham is going to be here on Pitchfork Lunch. Again, always so gracious and thankful for his time. Again, going to shift. It'll be, going to shift real quick, but nonetheless, you can do it because, hey, that's why you have a mobile studio, right? So nonetheless, Coach Dillingham will be with us. So we're going to step aside. Let your peeps know, man. He is coming up. But we'll step aside and have more Pitchfork Lunch right after this.
KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use. Are you good?
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean Conn.
Bird gang, I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraging. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always relaying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at CASA for Children childsportschildren.org.
Got a big painting project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org. This is the sound.
KSRN has the inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use.
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird Gang, I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always relaying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
All right, look at this. We are back here on Pitchfork Lunch, and joining me, yes, for the second time. He's done this last year, is episode 150, right after Pat's run, actually, last year. But head coach Kenny Dillingham joining me. Coach, again, thanks so much for the time. Obviously, last year's been a little crazy. Obviously, a lot of fun. And I know throughout spring ball, obviously, the fans did get a kick of you constantly repeating, playing "We Are the Champions," getting what you're trying to do. I got a lot of comments on that on the show. But let's start there. Obviously, you come in with the cloud, and I loved one of your first statements out of practice, the spring ball, when you're like, of course I'm young, I should have energy. But I mean, that carried over, and where it paid off, and I know you and I talked about this last year, is in recruiting. But guys came back very motivated. Obviously, the year that you had, but man, now that you've had a time to digest it, I know it's on to next season, obviously already. But what was that like, just for you guys as a staff, and just coming back here and like we talked about, it means a lot more at your alma mater. But what was this last year like? And I mean, getting into the college football playoff, and like I asked some of the guys, probably sick and tired before the game, that, ASU doesn't really belong, even though winning does matter in every sport.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, unbelievable from that perspective. Just the excitement of the city, excitement of our players, the buy-in from the town, and everybody's wearing ASU stuff and saying "Forks up" and "Go Devils." And I think that was the vision here, is to create that. And how do we sustain that is the challenge. But it was definitely, a special year, one that almost will be impossible to duplicate, being picked where we were and then having the success that we did. Hopefully we never duplicate that again, because it means the expectations are never that low again. But now the bar has been raised, and hopefully we can continue to have success.
And you talked about a little bit in spring ball. I know I asked like Coach Ward this too. Like defensively, now that you have a lot of guys back, but having a target on your back, like you said, every week. And I know I asked you this late in the or right before spring, there's only 4 teams on your schedule conference-wise that you're playing again. So, and obviously everybody can't play everybody with the expanded big conferences, but the target being the hunter. And I know you guys you have the mindset of still hunting, but just the other outside respect. And then, like you said, we'll get to Sam, but Sam getting attention, a lot of players getting attention, your staff. What's on the recruiting trail again? And you've always said something interesting. And a lot of Pitchfork Lunchers love it because they always comment on it. A lot of times they've commented on when you said it, like, and especially in the transfer portal, like, not that you want to say no, but saying no if it's not the right fit. But for those guys that did that last year and your coaching staff, how do you feel everybody just grew as a group?
Yeah, I think the growth of the guys that were here wanted to be here. I think what was our secret sauce? Our guys wanted to be here. They continued to want to be here. They still want to be here. And in an era where there's a lot of promises, a lot of things that don't come through, we try to be as honest and direct in the recruiting process as possible. Not everybody likes it. We move on from people that don't like it or we feel they don't like it. And does that mean we miss out on some quote unquote talent? Oh, yes, it does. And that sucks because we want the talent. But we also want the talent that fits our culture, that fits what we want to do here. So I think that mantra kind of grew within the team, that everybody just wanted to be here and everybody just wanted to be the best version of themselves. And I think that made everybody better individually.
And when you speak better individually, I mean, to wrap up on last year, but the guys what the defense did, but somebody like Cam, I mean, you obviously have no problem coaching up your players because you said you're going to love them hard, but you're going to coach them hard. If they need to be yelled at, they're going to hear it. But with what Cam did and the leadership he took and how he went to the offensive line, seeing him get drafted, like you said, I mean, and you said it many a times, obviously a team's going to be very lucky to have him, which the Giants are. And it would have been nice, you're right, if he could have stayed in the Valley. But just seeing him get drafted and where he started to where he is now and your guys' relationship, what was just he like to be in the building with and everything?
It was fun to be around. You never knew, you were going to get the person he was, but you never knew what he was. You never knew if it was a joke. You never knew what he was going to wear. There was always that mystery behind him, which was exciting. I think he has such a vibrant personality that it definitely, and different personality, attracts people to him. And I think you combine that with his work ethic and how old school and tough that he plays the game. And he's just somebody that's a pleasure to be around. So I think we really grew together when we had really honest conversations. He's had so much success in his career. We had really transparent conversations that, aren't necessarily positive. You don't leave all warm and fuzzy, but you leave, okay, this is what I need to get accomplished to get to where I want to go. I need to do that. And I think he rose to the challenge and he matured and grew up, became a better player. And I think this is just the beginning.
And then when you look at, to kind of piggyback off that a little bit away from football, but being at the athletes' graduation and stuff and having, guys that graduated, and some obviously will be back, they have the eligibility. But and I asked a few of them, I know I asked Justin, like, your family supports you in football, but how cool is it to do it, graduate, walk in front of your family? But as a head coach, I mean, obviously that's the other side of it, being an athlete, you're an alum here. How cool is that just to be a part of the graduation and see those guys walk across the stage knowing they have their degrees?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, the excitement they get for that. I think people sometimes forget the power of that and the importance of that to these kids and to these guys, these young men now. And for them, it's a moment that you can see the smile on their face, the accomplishment that it is to do that. And it's really fun just to be a part of that moment. And, whether it was Shaman or Watt or, you see Cyrus and his entire family over there with all the legs and whoever it was, it's special to everybody. So to be a part of that is definitely something that I really, appreciate and cherish.
Because you always, as coaches, you talk about relationships, and for coaches throughout the years, it's like, you've been doing it a while when you start getting, wedding invitations and, kids are coming along and stuff like that. But to be part, like you said, of that first, like another step in graduation, again, absolutely awesome. When you look at now the camps, and a lot of, putting it out yesterday and the young kids, and I know you said last year that and Coach Tuitella was saying, just keeping their attention, because sometimes like, oh, butterfly, and they're young, but to see the smiles on their faces, even when they come up and talk to you afterwards, or when they're getting coached up, from last year to this year, what do you feel like the difference in working with the younger kids is, and how much more responsive? You said, obviously, winning, people see it, but and the roots you talked about yesterday too, but just the fun being around those kids. And when they're going up against big defensive linemen like CJ and Jacob, and you just see this huge difference, but just for the kids to be a part of it and the players to be a part of it too.
Yeah. It's giving back. And I think for all that we get, that the kids that come to the camp get out of it, which is awesome. You see the smile on their face like you described, and our players' involvement. So it's a pretty cool thing to create the connection with the university for those kids at a young age. For all of that, I think our players and our staff get just as much out of it in return. For our players, I talked to them the other day, last Thursday, so a couple Thursdays ago, and I said, look at all these camps. How many people want to be you? And it was like, yes, I understand there's so many things going on in college athletics, but come out to a camp and just appreciate the fact of how many people want to be in your shoes. And even though success is relative, and even though everybody has a different vision of what they want, and the more successful you are, the more successful you want to be, and all that stuff, appreciate where you're at. Appreciate and don't take it for granted, and work hard, because a lot of people would, do anything to be where you're at. So I think these camps, specifically the young kid camp, is a way that they really appreciate, man, I was this young kid playing with this college guy on the, and it really, it's a flashback. It's pretty cool for them.
Right. Absolutely. And then speaking of giving back, obviously Sam, camp back up at home. CJ, I mean, it's just another example with, teachers and principals like back at home, giving back to him. And like you said it from the beginning, obviously, being a good person, having, working harder than anybody in the country, having more fun doing it than anybody in the country. But when guys like CJ and you see Sam and others giving back, and basically it's just like, they're doing it, how they were brought up. But what's that like for the rest of the team and just for you guys as a coaching staff?
Yeah, I think it's just a testament to the kids we have. And I think that's one of the big reasons we win is those guys are good people. It's not a secret. So when you have Sam holding a camp back home, you have JT and Sam holding a camp here, you have Rouser holding a camp, you have X holding a camp. I mean, you have CJ with all the things he's doing in the community, and Jacob in the community. You have kids going to the children's hospital. It's such an environment of giving, right? That hopefully when guys get in the building, yeah, the personal success is going to come. We're proving that. Just read the internet right now. We have tons of guys with personal success, but that personal success only comes through team success. It only comes through giving. So I think these guys learning how to give and learning how to do it for each other is what is driving this personal success. And hopefully they continue to double down on that, not just on the field, but in life. As they get older, they understand that it takes a village to be successful. You can't do it alone.
And another thing, a lot of fans of the show are asking me to ask you, but last year, obviously, with the bonuses, but you gave a lot of it to your staff. Head coach wins, gets bonuses, but like you just said, it's a village. In doing that, what was the reaction? I mean, just from the staff, and how do you feel like how much closer that it brought you? I mean, a close staff already, but how much closer it brought you guys?
Yeah, to me, you're only as good as your staff. Like, if we don't have an unbelievable staff, the staff that we have, we don't have the year we had. And sometimes so much of the focus gets put on me or gets put on the head coach when that's really not the case. I probably do one of the smallest amount of works in the entire building in terms of, value. That's how I view it, is like, I'm like, man, how do I find value here? We've got a great DC. We've got a great OC. We've got great position coaches. We've got good players. Our assistants are really good. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I make us better? So I think the fact that I'm just a small part of this, I think we need to appreciate what actually makes it go. And that's a lot of the times the people nobody sees.
And then when you look too, I know, and obviously everybody's like, oh, ask them about this recruit. Again, like I said to you last year, it's hilarious how, I mean, even before social media, every kid could go to a newspaper, call everybody in the country. But if a coach were to mention a name, it's a slap on the wrist. We're not doing that here, guys. I already told you. But like you said, the recruiting trail, I mean, since you started, and obviously winning this year, and I know you're into the, obviously 26s, and now you said the other day, obviously starting with the 27s, building those relationships. What has been the vibe? I mean, like with players, yeah, you're out there, you guys are talking to them, but how do you feel the vibe has shifted from the parents too? Because they always obviously have a lot of questions and want to see, where their son is coming to play and what, who they're coming to play for.
Yeah, I think it's in a good direction. I think people are seeing the vision that we set out, and that we're, on our way to that vision. One season doesn't do anything. One season is fun. It's how do you create the consistency? How do you continue to build it? How do you create, when you're building something, or it's not linear. It's not just always successful and you just grow. Nothing happens like that. periods of time of growth, failure, growth, failure, growth, failure. The whole goal is in 5 to 6 years, we can look at where we're at and we can look down at where we were and say, oh my gosh, look how far we've come. And it's not, you just can't get wrapped up in the highs and the lows, because there will continue to be highs and lows. That's the fans' job. Fans' job are to boo when we suck and to cheer when we're good. It's my job to ignore everything and make sure we stay the course. So I think for us and from a recruiting side, it's trending in the right direction. But there's going to be highs and lows. And the whole goal is to end so high at the end of 4 or 5 years to create something sustainable that people will want to come play for.
And okay, speaking of the heisman, you said yesterday, I mean, through spring, you know, his attitude and Justin here, obviously Sam being put in the Heisman talk and the early Heisman talk, and like you said, his connection with Jordan and just the receivers and growing. But in being in the Heisman talk, I mean, like I said, it's been a minute since somebody was here. I mean, I was here when, you know, Jake Plummer was obviously in that mix. But for someone like Sam, like, I mean, he always talks about like putting in the work. And like you said, I mean, but as a coach, like, yeah, and as a program, of course you want to push out. He did the work. People can see it on the field. But what's the challenge, I guess, in maybe not getting too high with it, but making sure you're pushing and riding that wave?
Yeah, I mean, for him, he's not focused on all of that noise. You know, that's a different side. You know, that's a side that's part of this business now, is you have to create noise. People around programs, people around him, we should be creating noise because he deserves it. But he is a very focused individual. He doesn't hopefully let the noise get to him. He's not letting the noise get to him. He's the same person today that he was when he first got here, from a work ethic, from just personality-wise, a little more comfortable, obviously, being here for a year. But that drive to be the best is still there. And I think that's the key to him. Is I don't think he'll ever be satisfied. I don't know if he'll ever get complacent in anything, just because I don't know if he's wired like that.
Yeah, which, again, is great to see. And then when you look at obviously your son, talked about last year, getting bigger, you're doing more stuff. And last year, everybody loved that. Like you said, every time he sees a sport, he just said ASU, which was great.
Yeah.
But now, like, being around, like when he gets to be around practice more, and obviously when you have him like up at Camp T, and, you know, you guys are up there as a family, how much more do you feel that he's grasping this, but how much more fun is it for you that he's grasping more?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. He still doesn't process, you know, everything around him that's happening. But, you know, he's still, every time he sees Sparky or a pitchfork, ASU, you know, he's 3 years old. So 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty cool. So, I mean, he's definitely embracing it, but he's still not quite at that age where he can, you know, put it all together. But he is definitely all ASU.
And to kind of piggyback off that, when you look at the program, I talked to other coaches, obviously in the fall. I mean, Coach Van Neal in volleyball, I mean, what they did winning the Big 12, you guys win the Big 12, you know, golf, swim and dive, both sides win the Big 12. Golf's right there. But, and we've talked about the energy, but just to kind of see that catapult, because I really got to ask you, catapult from the fall, you know, through the winter and the spring in these sports. I mean, I know you guys all talk as coaches, but how fun are those conversations with that when the whole program is just in an uplifting way?
Yeah, I think energy is real and winning is contagious. And when you see people win and you see people having fun and you see the engagement and the joy of that, I think other people can connect to that. Other people can embrace that and, you know, not become it, but they can definitely ride the wave of that momentum and of that just passion and energy. And I think, you know, starting with volleyball, you know, our team, before we went and played down south, I mean, we stopped in to watch a little bit of the volleyball game. And just so they can appreciate, like, oh, man, like, they're winning a championship. That's pretty cool, right? And give them context. And then we drove down to play that game. And so I think that energy is contagious. That energy is real. And I do think it connects from program to program.
And I mentioned, obviously, something like, you know, you talk about building, but Camp T, obviously going up there, and you talk about, you know, getting rid of, you know, technology and guys, you know, coming together as groups, but the team just coming together. What has been, I guess, I'll never ask like the one, but what has been the last, like, the few funnest parts of Camp T, and how do you look forward to heading back up there again this year?
I mean, I like just hanging out in the cabin with the coaching staff, and we just talk, be funny, tell stories. That's fun. I mean, just that doesn't happen nowadays with cell phones and technology. It's hard to get people to put it all down and just communicate, tell jokes, and have fun. And then with the players, I would just say, like, seeing them kind of like let their guard down in an environment that they're not used to. Seeing a guy, I've never climbed a mountain, or I've never seen a mountain. Like, I've never, been in the river. Like, things like that, those first that you get to be a part of. I've never been in the wilderness. Like, I'm not a wilderness guy, but I go. So it's like all those first, and then to see those guys really gel together. I don't know if it's a moment. I think it's just like that whenever those moments happen where it's like two guys become friends, or you can be like, these guys will be friends forever now. Like, what just happened right there? That person just slipped climbing the mountain and he caught him. They're going to tell that story for 30 years. Remember when you could have fallen down that mountain? Like, things like that are the things that I like, man, they're going to remember this.
Yeah. And obviously the weather, the scenery is great too. The non-technology, yeah, I know, like you said, it is a challenge when you're coaching and putting stuff together, but it is great to kind of draw the sticks, plays in the dirt with the stick. Speaking of Camp T, you don't have to be a part of this movement, but we're trying to do it for CJ because his dog, it's his dog Tank, but it's obviously it's in Texas. Tank has not been to Tempe yet. Before the Texas State game last year, his dad sent me the video, which I played on the show, where he put two hats up, Texas State hat and ASU hat, and Tank looked at that and tapped the ASU hat. Hence, you got the win. So we CJ and I started moving Tank to Tempe. They keep saying it's too hot. So now we're going Tank to Camp T because I would like to sit down and talk to CJ and have Tank there too, because he did say it is his dog, but his sister always gets free reign of it now since he's here in Arizona. So if you want to be part of the Tank to Camp T movement, I'm a big fan.
Tank to Camp T.
Yes.
Team dog out there.
I mean, like I said, going against the family's alma mater, Dad had the hats up, and he just tapped the ASU. He knew what to tap, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, CJ's a dog, so it makes sense to get his dog to Camp T.
And then lastly, let's end on this. With obviously the Big 12 meetings, you were there and like being around the coaches, all the coaches, and with the change in the college football playoff and everybody, out, like you said, other, media and conference, people say, oh, they're whining this and that. Look, I'm of the ilk. I've always said, if you do win your conference, I don't see why you wouldn't get a bye, wouldn't get, that's just me. But now they want to obviously expand it, which again helps more teams because, again, I understand as coaches. I always said on the show, people say, well, of course they're going to, pound the pavement for their conference. But because they're in it, they know how tough it is. Not easy to win. But with expansion now and just with the way, people are saying, oh, well, maybe they should see it as to wins, whatever. When you guys were talking as coaches and as a group, how did that conversation go and just your kind of thoughts of where it's headed?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I know they're removing the auto top 4 bid, which I'm fine with. I mean, just have an opportunity to be in the dance. I mean, that's all you want. So if you have an opportunity to be in the dance and you get to potentially host a home game now instead of a bye, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. If we got, blessed to have a season to put us in that opportunity. In terms of the auto bids and all that, none of that really matters to me. I'm all about competition. So I know we as a group talked about the 5-11 model and how, automatically, the winner of the conference gets in and the best 11 teams. So that's what I support is best 16 teams. Let's get in there and let's compete.
Absolutely. And I love when I asked you last year, because some people were saying, oh, they were blowouts, this and that. But I do have to say, I will give the creators credit. Those on-campus games were phenomenal. I mean, to watch the atmosphere look, and I know again, getting to prepare, getting a little bit of recovery, getting somewhat healthier is great. But man, that atmosphere, especially here, that time of year where it's not freezing, I think that would have been phenomenal.
I agree.
So, well, that's it. That's all the time Coach has. But we'll be back with more Pitchfork Lunch. And again, Tank to Camp T, we got to get him up there. So, Mr. Fight, hey, Texas to Tempe, but we got to get him up to Camp T. It's not too hot, so no more excuses. CJ should get to see his dog. Coach is on board with it. But we'll step aside. More Pitchfork Lunch coming up.
KSRN has the inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use.
Are you good?
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird Gang, I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always laying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
Yep, you guys are listening to the greatest internet radio station on the web, the Casual Sports Radio Network. Again, all you got to do is go to www.ksrnaz.com. Again, page will open up, click listen live. Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, there's Pitchfork Lunch. But again, you have a plethora of other shows, which are just awesome. Casual E's got you hooked up with the Cardinals, Suns, D-backs, Mercury, and the ASU content. So again, it's all there. Absolutely phenomenal. So, hey, big shout out, big forks up to Coach Dillingham for doing that again, sitting down, taking the time. Again, very busy man, like he says in recruiting. What does he add? But man, just that vision, again, alum, culture, everything. And you hear him, talking about Sam and, earning it. And him and Jordan Tyson, I mean, a lot. There's, again, the preseason stuff. And like you said, like, guys, I will not talk out of both sides of my mouth because I could care less. I've been like this for a very long time, as a lot of you Pitchfork Lunchers know. I could care less about preseason rankings. Yes, next year if ASU is, or as they come into the season, when it comes out to say they're ranked, 10, 15, whatever. Yes, I'll be stoked, but it's still, I will adapt that from Coach Dillingham, as nobody cares. But yes, they're not going to be big to finish last in the Big 12 this year. Although who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe Coach votes for them to finish it just so the team still sees that. No, I kid because I care. But no, it's so stoked he took the time, man. Always grateful for your time, Coach Dillingham. So again, we transitioned very, very quickly. But nonetheless, I mean, a lot there. Obviously talking about Sam, like you said, the camps, the kids, like starting their roots. And he's mentioned that, always mentioned that, like, you're in the now you're recruiting, obviously, high school kids and stuff, but building relationships, having those camps. And like he said, I mean, you see somebody like, a CJ Fight out at camp, Jacob Rishkongaika was out there with, with CJ and Jordan Crook. I saw him out there, and Xavier Alfred out at 7-on-7, and it's just, you see these different players and they're out there, but like I said, with the little kids, and they're all stoked, and of course you're going to listen to them more than they would, even though they should listen to your parents, right? But yeah, I mean, just the camps and the roots, and yeah, winning will do that. It's a competitive valley, and people can say it's bandwagonish, yes, being a Sun Devil. As you guys know, Homer, yes. Fair, yes. Not everything's rainbows and unicorns, but I, always went to games. And I mean, the first ASU games, just even going as a kid, remembering it oh, wow. And but just, yes, wanting to be consistent, to be up there and win, and, just talking to all the coaches. But yeah, he's definitely got it going on the right track. And obviously the extension, the raise, like you said, giving a huge amount of his bonus to his staff last year. Coach Ward got extended. Coach Arroyo got extended. Absolutely awesome. Deserved. It's awesome because it's completely deserved. And, again, love that defense staff coming back on defense. You bring in a coach last season, and Coach Dyron Reynolds, who just with that defensive line has worked. And Coach Amy obviously working with the D-line too. And then, what Coach Cooper's done with the linebackers, and Coach Carrington and Coach Ward, obviously with – the corners and the safeties, the DBs. And, so again, and the Coach Arroyo, I mean, just getting on that, building that relationship with Sam, getting in there and doing it. So Forks up to Coach Dillingham. Again, thank you, and we will catch up with him again. Like I said, Monday will be the last show of season 2. So, yes, don't forget, though, 6:02 p.m. tonight. You can check out Jaden Davis in the men's 400. And I think, let's see, you can watch on obviously it's Hayward Stadium up in Eugene, which again, if you have not been up there, I mean, I saw it a few years ago, but I was up there a few years ago, but just beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. So again, if you ever get a chance, I greatly suggest it. Because yeah, it is just great atmosphere, beautiful scenery, phenomenal facility, or wouldn't be hosting it. And it's the 16th time it's been hosted there. So yes. And everything is on ESPN2. Penn State 2 starts at 8:30 Eastern time, so 5:30 Pacific. You can check out Mountain Time, Pacific Time, Mountain Time. 5:30 here in Arizona, you can check out. It's on ESPN2. And then women's on Saturday. Tomorrow is all on ESPNU at 6 o'clock Eastern, so 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The finals for women, but men's today. And like I said, it'll be rolling at 5:30 Arizona time. So do check it out. Yeah. But hey, that's going to do it. Again, big shout out to Coach Dillingham for letting them. Yeah, you guys like that in the defensive line meeting room. So talking a little, he picked it. I know, you guys know, yes, I'm one of the few that, yes, defense does matter. And I'm all for a 14-10, 17-10 game, because those can be some of the best games, but just because there's not like 27,000 points scored doesn't mean it's not a good game. But I know we need our offense to score too, and I want the Devils to do that. You guys know that, Pitchfork Lunchers. But yeah, big shout out again. Thanks to Coach Dillingham. Forks up to Coach for jumping in. Pitchfork Lunch again, giving that mojo, that 0.0001% added on to their, obviously passion, drive, talent. The 99.999% of that. The Pitchfork Lunch mojo does exist. Reigning Big 12 champs. That's all I got to say. So, but yeah, have a phenomenal weekend. Again, check track out tonight and tomorrow. ESPN2 tonight, ESPNU tomorrow. And yeah, we'll wrap up Monday. Again, working on another awesome guest to wrap up the season. See how that goes. We'll let you know. But yeah, have a most phenomenal rest of your weekend. And like reigning Big 12 champions, women's volleyball, told me and reminded me, because I kind of forgot, but yes, it is #our-state. That's for you people down south. It will always be a Sun Devil state. And have a phenomenal weekend. You guys know it. I'll see you Monday. And as always, Forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
The 27-yard line. That's a great call, too. Blake Baker, Farmer will put it up, throws over the middle. Touchdown. Great play.
That's a way. Trying to center off with Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down, he scored.
For a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. But a downfield, they won't get him. Wow!
Edwards pulls up and buries the flag.
shot for